Ira, how's everything going?
Good. What's happened? Good evening, Max. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, and
Everything's
unfortunate news.
good,
Yeah, everything's
except for the
good.
rain.
Yeah, and the injuries that are
Yeah,
happening to the Jets.
that's a kill. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, for them to
It's
we just
unbelievable.
we just win in in Pittsburgh, Green Bay, and Denver, places we've never won. Well, but they've had success at Lambeau, but Pittsburgh and Denver are just horror shows. And they win all three of these games, and at the end of the day, the offensive side of the ball gets ravaged with injuries. It's
Ugh.
unbelievable.
If you look at it, the offensive line is already banged up with Mitchell and Fant and, of course, Mekhi Becton. But now we have to count in Elijah Vera Tucker now because he's out for the year with a triceps injury.
I know he might have been the best offensive lineman in the league.
Yeah.
He was starting to trend in that direction. Guys playing two different positions. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. And especially with Breece Hall. To me, I'm ready to say it right now. I think Breece Hall is our best player on offense. I really do. And you saw the
Oh
impact that he
yeah,
had
no,
this year.
hands down, he was the best player. And it's very unfortunate that he got hurt because just as well as I do. This offense now is going to look completely different without him on the field.
It's similar to that Rex Ryan, Mark Sanchez years where they're more of a run team and they get all the defensive stops. So now now are we going to see Zach Wilson slinging it all over the field like Mark Sanchez was in his final 2 years with the Jets?
Well, it's funny. I just got done talking to somebody else about that, and I think, I mean, they're going to have to give him a little more rope to throw the ball. It looked like they were protecting him, and it was working because they were winning and playing good defense. But yeah, I think that rushing attack is going to be anywhere near as good as it was when Hall was in the lineup. I mean, Carter's a nice back. Ty Johnson, he's all right. I like the kid Knight. I guess I'll bring him up from the practice squad, but I can't tell you what he's going to do in a regular season game. So I think Zach, he's going to have to step up his game now. He was the second pick in the draft. We were both very high on him. I was really excited about drafting him. But right now, I do have concerns.
And it already came down to it, especially when you looked at the preseason, because I brought this up the last time that we spoke. Everyone says how well he plays in the practices, but when he gets on that field, the performances just aren't there. Through the interception in preseason, he hasn't made the big mistake yet in these games that he's played. They've been 4-0 already since he's been back, but there really hasn't been any highlight plays from him, especially with throwing touchdowns in the end zone. I get that he's had a couple nice passes to Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson here and there, and he caught that touchdown pass. But when you're looking at the stats, they really aren't anything to get all happy about.
No, and you know what? As long as you're winning, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that recipe of what they were doing took a major hit yesterday with Tucker and Hall going out. And I think LaFleur, he's going to have to sit down with Saleh, and they're going to have to devise game plans now, as opponents come up. And unfortunately, I got the Patriots with Belichick, and he can make any quarterback look bad.
He can.
Wilson's going to have to make plays. The one thing that I just can't accept. I mean, if I was a coach, I would have grabbed him by his face mask yesterday and ripped him a what because how many times are you going to run backwards and throw up a ball across the field like he did yesterday? I mean, it was a cockeyed miracle that ball wasn't intercepted.
Yeah, and people they thought it was a fumble, especially the analysts thought that when they were talking on the TV.
Oh, you're talking the other play. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I know what you're talking about exactly too. When he just chucks the ball up, he still has some rookie mistakes that he's making here in his second year, which is pretty alarming. But I don't know. I think you're right. And you know what? Have you been paying attention to the Seattle Seahawks? I mean, how about Geno Smith? I would take him back right now.
Well, it's sad to say, but if Geno Smith was playing for the Jets the way he's playing for the Seahawks, I think the Jets would be a lock to make the playoffs.
I think so too.
But the thing that I think really, where Wilson gets himself into trouble is that, I'm sure the coaches tell him this. I have to give the coaching staff the benefit of the doubt here, but in his mind, when he starts running around and trying to buy time, and I get it, he's trying to escape and make something happen. I understand that, but he has to realize that the speed of an NFL lineman or linebacker that's chasing him, they are a lot more athletically gifted and faster than opponents he was running away from when he was doing this stuff at BYU.
Exactly. And we've seen plays where he's been running backwards. I mean, the Dolphin game, I think there was a play there he was sacked back for 20 yards.
I know. It's just, I don't get it. I mean, I'm sure the coaches have been preaching to this guy not to do it, but he just, week in and week out, he continues to do it. And you know what? If he does it 10 times, and if he buys himself time and hits a pass down the field what a throw. He hit the guy 60 yards down the field on the run. That's all great. But what about the 9 other plays where maybe 3 balls get picked off, he gets sacked, or he almost gets intercepted? I mean, the percentage of, the risk-reward factor is not worth it.
No, it's not. If this play continues, because now the storm is ahead now. We don't have Hall. Our offensive line is all banged up. We lost the best offensive lineman that we had, especially it could be up for debate here. He's probably the best in the league. The storm's coming because we got to play the Patriots, then we got to play the Bills, and then we play the Patriots again. So now here's the real test. I mean, we've had bad luck in Denver. We've gotten blown out from them constantly, especially going back to the 1998 AFC Championship game in which they had to rub it in yesterday and show that score, by the way.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
It just never works out. But now the real test is ahead here with the Patriots and the Bills. And if they can win against the Patriots here even once, I'll take it.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm going by. If they split with the Pats, and I would think if they're going to beat them, it has to be this week. I don't see them winning up in Fox.
No.
So if they win one game against the Pats, I think they make the playoffs.
I agree.
I think if they lose the 2 Pats game and they lose the Bills game, then you're talking about an 8-win season.
And if you think about it, it probably wouldn't have been an 8-win season if we didn't have all these injuries. I mean, they're all over the place. And I would love your take, actually, because I did hear that Salah said that Elijah Moore will be active this Sunday. So I'm curious your take on this whole Elijah Moore situation.
Well, initially, everybody, you got to cut him. But, I think the Jets handled the situation very well. They left him home. They let him stew on it. They certainly weren't giving him away. I do believe that if somebody offered them a second-round pick, they would have taken it.
Yeah.
But thank God that didn't happen because we'd really be kicking ourselves today. But I think this is an opportunity where if he's getting the right advice, and, nobody knows that, they're going to say, listen, Davis is out. They can't lean on the running game as much as they did before. This is your time to shine.
Exactly.
Go out and make plays.
Yeah. He apparently thinks he's Keyshawn Johnson here in his second year. Unbelievable. I just want to see. I want to see some explosive plays from him coming back, because if we got rid of him, then we're talking we have to start all over again, finding another receiver next year, because the Jets fans were always so hungry for a receiver. Now that we have Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, and more, we figured we were set there. But the thing that scares me about this Breece Hall injury is look how long it took for Saquon to get back. It took almost 2 years for him to get to where he's at now. I hope that he's the same once he gets back, because this guy, he was potentially our next Curtis Martin already.
That's right. The Breece Hall thing, regardless of where we end up this year, just for his career going forward, it's concerning because there's no guarantees with ACL.
No.
Hopefully he'll mend well and heal, and he'll be back where he was next year. But the thing that really gets me with the NFL is these injuries, and we people talk about it year in and year out. They just decimate teams, and it ruins it. It ruins it for the fans. It ruins it for the players. It just ruins it for everybody. You just take you work hard all these months, and you just flush it down the toilet because you got 2 or 3 major hits. And let's face it, how much depth could the average team really have?
Yeah, no.
You know,
Eventually,
you
it's going
got
to get
guys,
hit.
right? I mean, whether it's Tucker or Hall, or you look at other teams that lost major players. How many times could you take, really special talent and have somebody step in? It's one thing to step in and play. It's another thing to step in and make a difference. And when
Exactly.
you lose a difference maker, it affects your team.
Oh yeah. I didn't want to say it yesterday, but I said, oh well, the season's over. That's what I was thinking in my head as soon as Hall went down, because he carried us and he brought that explosiveness. He was winning rookies of the week for the past, I think, 2 weeks, and it's unbelievable. It's so unfortunate. Now you have the rumors out here about potentially Joe Douglas trading for one of these running backs. Kareem Hunt, Cam Akers is one of them. Are you interested in bringing in any of those guys?
No, I don't want to. I don't want a 1 year rental or any of
Yeah.
that nonsense. No. I can't. Like I said, elevate Knight from the practice squad. If you don't believe in him, maybe there's somebody in some other practice squad you bring in. But now you're going to have to get creative with your offense.
Yeah.
You're going to have to shift gears. You're going to have to lean a little more on Wilson. And you know what? In the long run, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if they were to continue to have success doing what they're doing, we all would have loved it. They win 10 games, they get to the playoffs. Maybe they win a wild card game and then lose in the second round. But if we don't really have an answer about Wilson and we have team success, that's great. But then do we know if we really have a quarterback? It's almost like here, like if Wilson gave you a year this year, like Sanchez did in 010,
Mm-hmm.
when, he was, getting a little better, but, he had his moments. But then in the playoffs, he had those 3 unbelievable playoff
Yeah.
games. If Wilson did something like that, at least you start feeling positive about him. But do you envision him going out and playing the way Sanchez did in the playoffs?
No, I don't.
And
And
at any point this year?
no, I don't. And what's scary is he's regressed since his college days, because we look at games last year, such as the Tennessee Titans game and even the Buccaneer game. I think the Buccaneer game was probably his best game last year as far as performance wise. What happened? He looks like maybe it's the injury to the knee. I don't know what's going on, but things have to change, or I think it's going to come around full circle to what we said a few shows ago, in which you think Woody Johnson's going to step in and we're going to have to find another quarterback next year, because the pieces are already falling. We're starting to form an offensive line here. The defense is incredible. We haven't even gotten into Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed yet.
Oh my God! Oh my goodness! They're so good. They're so good.
All the pieces are finally falling here. Now it lies on the quarterback.
Totally. This is all on the quarterback. You can't hide him anymore.
No.
He's going to have to make plays, and I think LaFleur's going to have to be smart. He's going to have to devise game plans that's going to try to keep it simple for the kid. Take your occasional shots when you get the opportunity, but use your tight ends, use your backs. Short passes, get the ball out of his hands quickly. And hopefully you limit his mistakes, because otherwise, they're going to struggle to score points, because they're not going to run the ball the way they did with Hall in the lineup.
No, there's going to be some adjustments that have to be made, and we hear Zach Wilson always wanting to prove people wrong, in which people said that he really wasn't deserving to be the second round pick, or the second pick overall in the first round. And then he tells people in the lineup yesterday all the injuries are happening to grow a pair. I saw all the Jet fans were going at him on Twitter for saying that in the lineup. I don't know if you saw that comment.
No, I don't. I'm not on social media, but I don't. It just well, you got Mac Jones tonight with the Pats, right? He's starting, isn't he?
Yeah.
And is it possible? I mean, I want to give Wilson the benefit of the doubt. Is it possible we drafted the wrong guy? Is that possible?
When I think about it, these quarterback drafts, maybe it's better to take one of these guys that aren't in the top quarterback draft class, because we look at the Mayfield draft, the Darnold draft. The only great guy, really great quarterback out of that draft so far has been Josh Allen. I mean, but then when you look at drafts such as, even Deshaun Watson with the controversy, still a great quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, when you have the low-key quarterback drafts, it seems these quarterbacks pan out better.
You know what? Look at Daniel Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, Dable's done a tremendous job with him. He's turned his career around. I mean, he looks like he's well on his way to taking to the Giants playoffs. And you have to say he's an above-average quarterback the way he's playing right now.
Yeah. No, he is. He turned water in the wine just like Pete Carroll did with Geno Smith, and we never saw that coming. I don't. That's.
But you know what that also shows you, and of course a lot of it is your experience and maturity from the player himself, but a lot of it is the coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, like if Zach Wilson had Dable, and this isn't a knock on Salah, okay, because he's put together a tremendous defense, but if Dable was the coach of this team, there's a really good chance Wilson would be performing better than what he's done up until now.
I agree. It's very possible. It's because we may have the defensive, but Michael Floor's supposed to be this offensive guru, and I look at some of the play calling that he has been doing so far this season, and I'm not impressed at all.
Well, you know how I felt about him last year, and I'll continue to say it. He has his moments where he gets things going. But, overall, I think, until recently, he was getting away from the running game until the last 3 games. And the play calling, he likes his gadget plays here or there. But overall, the thing that gets me is that you watch these other games, and receivers are getting open. They're open by 10 yards all over the place.
Yeah,
the Jets don't happen with the Jets.
No,
our receivers are making catches in traffic. They like I said, gadget plays. I don't know if it's the offensive system, the pass running routes that this guy has. I'm really not sure what it is. I'm not smart enough for that. But at the end of the day, we have some very talented wide receivers and tight ends.
Yeah, and they're not even using the tight ends. That's another thing I wanted, but they should be using them a little bit more here, especially for Wilson. I thought this was going to open up the dynamic for Wilson in this offense.
Well, that's what I thought, and you know what? They called Huzama's number once yesterday, and Wilson threw it 20 miles over his head.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And he happened to be wide open on that play, so it probably was a good play call. The quarterback missed him.
Yeah. It's questionable,
and
especially
meanwhile, how good is Garrett Wilson? Did you see
good.
that ball that he caught?
Oh, it was a terrible throw.
I know.
And he still caught it. It's amazing. And you know what? Especially with these rookies that they drafted this year, Joe Douglas, he's been hitting home runs here with the last 2 drafts. Zach Wilson, the question mark is still out. But besides that, in the last 2 drafts, excluding the Mekhi Becton one, he's hit it out of the park. And if he continues to draft like this, I'll take the draft over free agency at this rate, because these are all young players. These are players we could have for forever. We can have for a long time here, and it beats free agency.
Douglas has done a very nice job. He has mixed in some veterans to show the rookies the way, and you could see the leadership. But once again, this is all going to come down to the quarterback. Yeah. It really will, and I'm hoping against hope that the light's going to come on for this kid, because I think he has this God-gifted talent, mobility, and arm-wise that not too many quarterbacks in this league have. But he's got to put it together mentally and physically, and read defenses and start using this talent that you were given in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping he can. And like you said earlier, these next 3 games are going to be a very telling tale of what we have in a quarterback.
I agree. And when we look at it in the end, say if Wilson doesn't progress, do you think that Woody Johnson steps in and thinks that we're going to draft a quarterback in the draft this year, or do you think he goes more of a younger veteran?
I think if there's people on the market, I think he goes that route. I mean, I cannot. I mean, if this thing really blows up, I mean, I want to think positive, but I'm just looking at all the different windows here. If the thing blows up at the quarterback spot, I can't envision him drafting another quarterback next year. I don't care if they have the first pick. I just can't. I don't see it.
No. I would love to have a drafted quarterback actually pan out for once, because it's like we have our official starter. I really want that, and I hope Zach Wilson turns around, but I think you're right.
Yeah, no, I think I know I'm right because it's just think of some. Look at I know that what happened to them yesterday with the injuries, but with the defense they have, and with the offense that still dresses, that's not hurt. If you took any of the top 10 to 15 quarterbacks in the league and put them on this team's going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. It's similar to what Cleveland was griping about with Mayfield because they had all the pieces in place, but Mayfield just wasn't getting the job done and getting them over the hump, despite bringing them to the playoffs and breaking that streak. But after that, it all went downhill. Right now, it's all coming down to the quarterback, and the next 3 weeks are going to be a telltale sign here.
It's going to be a very telling tale sign. They got to they have to win this week.
Yeah.
They have to win this week. Because I just can't envision them being the Bills. That's not going to happen.
No, they're a tough team, and the fact that they beat the Chiefs bothers me because it's like, oh, here we go, and are they going to win this? Because I can't handle watching a team from my division win the Super Bowl, especially the Bills. And I really, as much as I hate the Patriots and they've tortured me for my total existence of 23 years here, the Bills, there's something about them just since that 2015 game I can't stand, and the fans are always bragging about, oh, well, you guys play in Jersey, and I love that SNY, and people are finally fighting back, and they actually don't play in Buffalo, so I really can't stand the Bills.
Well, the good thing is after these 3 games, if we get one of them, even if we get the Bills for the past twice, or whatever, just win one of these next 3 games, right? Then after that, you got the Bears, you got the Vikings, you got at Buffalo. I think you got the Lions at home, you got Jacksonville at home, at Seattle, Miami. I mean, you're going to be in really good shape if you just win one of these next 3 games.
Yeah. I think that's all they have to do here. One of these next 3 games, and then I don't know. Hopefully we're talking playoffs. I want this drought to end because currently we're the longest drought in the NFL. I'm tired of not making the playoffs at this rate, and I want to make the playoffs here. I don't want to be talking about the draft yet. I don't want to talk about the draft until late December, early January. That's when I want to start talking about the draft.
That's exactly right.
I want to have meaningful games through Thanksgiving, please.
Just the thought, like even the conversation we just had. Just the thought of thinking about getting another quarterback for next year makes me sick.
Oh, it does.
I don't want to think about that.
No, it's a revolving door, and I really want Zach Wilson to be the answer. We were high on him. Experts are high on him. If he really isn't the answer, and if you really look at this whole draft class already with Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence isn't playing to the potential that he was the number 1 quarterback out of. He really hasn't lived up to his potential yet as he lost to the Giants yesterday. You look at the other quarterbacks that came out of this draft, Justin Fields, he hasn't lived up to the potential yet. I mean, it really doesn't matter here. I think Joe Douglas is going to have to hit on the next pick, or like you said, Woody Johnson's going to step in for a younger veteran.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not a jersey guy. I don't wear jerseys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have my name it throwback jersey from. Oh my goodness, I must have it. I have no idea how old it is, and I whip it out and maybe once every 2 or 3 years if it's a very important game. We haven't had many for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
no.
So one of the kids got me a Zach Wilson jersey for my birthday this May. And they said, it's a beautiful jersey, but I'm not going to wear it. I don't wear jerseys. I'm going to wear the Zach Wilson jersey this week to the Patriot game. I'm going to break the streak of not wearing jerseys. I'm hoping against hope that I don't want to take this off and throw it in the garbage at the end of the game. Maybe this will break the karma. Maybe Zach will get a little name within him and he'll go out there and play lights out on Sunday.
I'm hoping. I actually have a Zach Wilson jersey too, and I'm really hectic because I feel as though anytime I buy a jersey, the player never pans out. because I bought a Le'Veon Bell jersey. That didn't work out. I bought a Brandon Marshall jersey, and I'm so sick of Brandon Marshall being like a spokesperson for the Jets and ripping at Zach Wilson. I don't know if you saw that. This was a guy
I saw that. I read about it.
Who came in here, had a great impactful first season here. I think he had over 1,000 recovery yards as a receiver his first year, and that would end up we losing in the Buffalo game there. After that, he disappeared. He fought his way out of the organization, said, I want to play for the Giants. As the Jets, I would not have this guy around my club because he just villainized us. He left us. People forget about that. I can't stand Brandon Marshall. But every jersey that I usually get never pans out. And I have a Zach Wilson jersey, so that's not good. I don't want to touch a Gardner jersey yet. I don't want to touch. I'm very.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, no.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I am going to wear the Zach Wilson jersey this week. I am going to put the sweatshirt on and put the jersey over it, and I'm going to wear it. And it's very. You know what? I couldn't even tell you the last time I wore a jersey to a game, and I really honestly mean that. But this week, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to hope against hope that it's going to give him good karma. Maybe this kid will have a big game against the Patriots.
And if he does win, you may have to make that a tradition and wear it all the time.
No, not right. Yeah, no. If he wins and he plays well, I got to keep on wearing it to the home game. I won't wear it on the road.
Yeah, no.
But I'll wear it to the home game. That's for sure.
Now, have you been going out to Lambeau? Because I remember last year we talked about you not potentially going out to some of the road games, but have you been getting out to the road games? Has that changed now?
Yeah. I was in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Green Bay. I didn't go to Denver, and then I once again, traveling is not what it was.
Yeah, no.
Whether you believe it or not, I still think the COVID's around. So I'm trying to be somewhat careful. So when the schedule came out, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I'm going to plan to do and hope it works out. I said, but I'm not going to Seattle, and I'm not going to Denver, and I'm not going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I really had no desire to go to any of the three places. They're long trips. It's a 3-day investment, and I didn't want to do it.
No.
And I'm kind of glad because here's what, even the Lambeau trip, I went Saturday morning, I got home Monday afternoon. So, I didn't feel like turning around 4 days later and flying to the West Coast.
No. How did it feel to get that win out in Lambeau and seeing Sauce Gardner on the field with the cheesehead?
That was great. That when you go to a road game and you get lucky enough to see something like that, it's a good feeling. It really is, especially in a place like that.
Absolutely, and I remember the year when we went there. I mean, we lost them last time when we played them with Darnold, but there was that year there where I think we were up 21 before halftime with Geno Smith.
That was with Geno.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we ended up losing the game.
I've actually seen them win a lot at Lambeau.
Wow.
I saw them with Pennington. I saw them. This time. There was another game. I forget. 2000. Where Al Gross first year. I was there for that game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of success at Lambeau. So just Denver, not much.
Yeah, no.
I could tell you.
Yeah, we always get blown out there. Unbelievable. But at least we got the win yesterday, even though people are calling it an ugly win. I'll take it. But Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. I mean, Sauce Gardner, they're already saying he's the next Darrelle Revis. And this guy, who knows? He could be better. He might be better. He might be better. It's possible. Yeah. He's unbelievable. This cornerback duo, unbelievable what Joe Douglas did with these guys and picking DJ Reed out of free agency and getting Gardner in the draft. And, he's living up to the hype, Gardner. He really is.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I mean, and no disrespect to Revis, I think Gardner and Reed, they might be a better combination right now than Cromartie and Revis ever were.
Oh, I agree. It's looking that way, especially the big passes that they've been breaking up. And Gardner, he's just a lockdown. He's unbelievable.
He really is. He really is. And let's hope that they pick off a couple of Mac Jones' passes next week.
Yeah.
And man, could you imagine they beat the Pats and we're sitting at 6-2? Oh my God.
It'd be amazing, especially with all these injuries. And if they really start pulling out wins with the injuries to Hall and this offensive line, and it's really a testament to how much of a culture change and the shift that's gone on within this organization.
Well, I think Salah, and I've been rough on him, but I do give him credit. I think he's done a lot of really good things. Listen, these players play for him from the kickoff to the end. They never stop. They're flying around on both sides of the ball. Yesterday they did, maybe they weren't focused, had a lot of penalties, but they play hard for him. These players really don't care about the same old Jets. They don't care about the history of this franchise. They want to accomplish something, and I think he's really, got into their heads with this, and I think he's really got everybody in mentally a good spot with being a New York Jet, and I think Douglas has given them a good roster. Once again, it circles back to the quarterback, and I'm hoping against hope. I just hope it. I see all the talent that's there with this kid. He just got to produce.
Yeah,
that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, he's got to unleash that potential that he has and the talent. And the next 3 games are really going to be the telltale signs here.
Well, let's hope. Like I said, listen. You give me this game, you could take the Bill and the Pack game on the road. I don't care.
Yeah.
And if we're 6-4 with 7 games to go, I'm good to go.
I'll take
my chances, and let's hope. Hopefully I get to call you maybe after the bye week or after that next Pack game, and maybe we're sitting pretty, and maybe we'll be having a little more talk about Wilson being positive and the team maybe making a real playoff push.
I hope so. It's been a surprise so far, and I'm enjoying it. All the Jet fans are happy. And it feels good to win. I'll tell you, it feels good. This is the first time since 2015 I actually feel confident about this team.
I know. It really is a good feeling. Like I said, the injuries, it just, it really put a damper on yesterday.
It's heartbreaking.
It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's like they said, next man up. You got to get the job done.
Yeah. No, and we're going to see here. But Ira, is that it? I think that's everything. We covered everything here.
Oh, well, we led. How about Zerline?
Oh, yeah, Greg the Leg. He's back.
It's unbelievable. I mean, in that to me, he was the MVP yesterday's game. And Man. Yeah. Because Man's punting, and, I mean, Zerline made those kicks in the wind. It was just, thank God we didn't have Amendola or Sam Ficken or any of those other guys they had for them. But, at least, like I said, what do you got? 53 men on the roster. So you have pretty much. I'll give them a gimme. So you got 51 answered spots that are solved. You have probably one that I can't think of, and the quarterback. That's all that's left remaining to know that we have a really good football team.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of, I know they're going to have to add more offensive linemen. Absolutely. They're going to have to address that in the offseason, especially with Mekhi Becton, because he's not durable at this point. And the quarterback. That's pretty much it from this point.
Yeah, I really do. It's, and how sweet would that be if Wilson turns it around? We know we got our guy. And then whatever happens this year, win-loss, it happens. And they go into next year's draft, and they could just draft best available player in every round because pretty much they got all their bases covered.
Yeah. It would be amazing. And I'm hoping Wilson pans out here, and we're going to see here. We're going to see this season.
Well, I'm going to be wearing the jersey on Sunday.
And I'll be looking forward to this game. Hopefully we get our much-needed revenge against the the as they just been killing us for the past 20 years now. And last year with the 55 points last year, and we'll be coming for our revenge, hopefully.
Well, I hope so. I think they'll give it all they can. And like I said, Wilson goes out. He doesn't make the mistakes. I think the Jets have, as good a chance as anybody to beat the Patriots on Sunday.
I think so as well. And Ira, I think that's everything, man. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you again. Any closing words from you?
Nope, just enjoy the game and go Jets.
Go Jets. Jets. Jets.
Sounds good, man. You have a good night.
You too, Ira. Look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. Bye-bye.